Hello, Oracles. Well, how are Tesla and TSLY going to be trading this week? We got some excerpts from the Walter Isaacson interview with Elon Musk. We got another interview with Franz von Holzhausen, and the two of them were discussing the compact car, what we could be seeing from this next generation platform. So we'll see how that's going to affect the market this week. Plus, we have CPI and PPI data coming out as well. So we're going to get into all of that in just a minute. All right, so looking at the charts and how we closed last week, we did close under 250 at 248.50. But again, we are consolidating nicely. We're making higher lows and lower highs. So we're making this wedge pattern. There's a little bit of a bull pennant going on here. So the question here is, are we going to be breaking out or breaking down? Now, again, with CPI and PPI data coming out on Wednesday and Thursday this week, the question is going to be, is that what's going to be breaking us out or breaking us down? The following week, we are going to have the FOMC meeting. So potentially that could be it. We are still awaiting the news about the Cybertruck event going on. All of these different things could be catalysts to push us one way or the other. And then, of course, on October 2nd, we are going to be having the production and delivery numbers getting released. So if we haven't broken out or broken down by then, that is most likely what is going to trigger us one way or the other. Now, again, that number there, if we break out or break down before that, if that number is positive or negative, depending on whether we get the breakout or breakdown, could exaggerate us one way or the other going into earnings. So lots of data that we need to pay attention to going forward, but just some things that I'm paying attention to that could potentially happen over the next few weeks. So in this interview that Walter Isaacson had with Elon Musk, they spoke about a lot of things. One of the things that came up was this next generation platform, this $25,000 vehicle. So part of this interview comes down to, for years they had talked about what should be Tesla's next generation offering, a small, inexpensive, mass market car selling for around $25,000. Musk himself had teased the possibility in 2020, but then he put on hold those plans, and over the next 2 years, he repeatedly vetoed the idea, saying that the robotaxi would make the other car unnecessary. Nevertheless, von Holzhausen had quietly kept it alive as a shadow project in his design studio. Now, this is something that we had discussed several times many years back, discussing this next generation car. We saw many different concepts about this. We knew that, Shanghai wanted to design their own. It was potentially going to be this. So clearly Franz and, the other executives on the team were on board with this, but Elon was saying no. So late on a Wednesday evening in September of 2022, Musk ensconced himself in his longtime haunt, the windowless main conference room of the Fremont factory. Moravi and von Holzhausen led a few top members of the Tesla team in for a secretive meeting. They presented data showing that in order for Tesla to grow at 50% a year, it needed to have an inexpensive small car. The global market for such a car was huge. By 2030, there might be up to 700 million of them, almost twice as many as for the Model 3 and Model Y category. Then they showed that same vehicle platform and the same assembly lines could be used to make both the $25,000 car and the robotaxi. We convinced him that if we build these factories and we have this platform, we could churn out both robotaxis and a $25,000 car all on the same vehicle architecture, von Holzhausen said. After the meeting, Musk and I sat alone in the conference room, and it was clear that he was unenthusiastic about the $25,000 car. It's really not that exciting of a product, he said. His heart was in transforming transportation through robotaxis. But over the next few months, he got increasingly more enthusiastic. At a design review session one afternoon in February 2023, von Holzhausen put models of the robotaxi and the $25,000 car next to each other in the studio. Both had a Cybertruck futuristic feel. Musk loved the designs. When one of these comes around a corner, he said, people will think they are seeing something from the future. The new mass market vehicle, both with a steering wheel and as a robotaxi, became known as the next generation platform. Musk initially decided that Tesla would build a new factory in northern Mexico, 400 miles south of Austin, designed from the ground up to build such cars. It would use a completely new manufacturing method that was highly automated. And so when we go back and we think about the next generation platform, we all speculated about, is it the robotaxi? Is it the compact car? Turns out it's both. It's the exact same thing. Sounds like the compact car is going to be the robotaxi. The only difference is the compact car is going to have a steering wheel and pedals, and the robotaxi will not. But a problem soon arose in his mind. He had always believed that Tesla's design engineers needed to be located right next to the assembly line rather than allowing manufacturing to be done at a remote location. That way, engineers could get instant feedback on how to design innovations that would both improve the car and make it easier to manufacture. This was particularly true for a completely new car and manufacturing process. But he realized he would have trouble getting his top engineers to relocate to a new factory. Tesla engineering will need to be on the line to make it successful, and getting everyone to move to Mexico is never going to happen, he told me. So in May 2023, he decided to change the initial build location for the next generation cars and robotaxis to Austin, where his own workspace and that of his top engineers would be right next to the high-speed, ultra-automated assembly line. So there it is, as we had discussed last week, discussing how Mexico might be getting pushed off till 2026 or 2027. The reasoning behind that is very true. It is because they are now going to be producing this next generation vehicle right out of Austin. My gut was telling me initially that's where they were going to be doing it because that's where Elon was going to be as well. But then, of course, they told us Mexico is where it was going to be coming from. So they're going to tell us that's what I'm going to follow. Now we have this full understanding of all the decision making that was going on behind the scenes. So yes, this next generation platform, the robotaxi and this compact car will both be coming out of Austin. And I don't know when it's going to be happening. So obviously Austin's already built. So for them, it's just a matter of getting the assembly line going versus building an entire factory. This allows them in Mexico to not push as quick, not having as much capital expenditure over the next couple of years to get this factory built, just like they had with Berlin, Austin, and Shanghai. We know the capital expenditure that goes into building these factories. Now they can do it right out of Austin. Sure, they still have to spend the money on getting the assembly lines built. And, if they need any new buildings in Austin for this, they can make that happen. But they're not doing a full fresh build from the ground up. The benefits behind this as well are they can get the initial lines up and running in Austin, get the kinks all worked out. Then this next generation manufacturing process, which they're going to be having in Austin, can be started in Mexico and India at the next iteration. Similar to how Berlin and Austin initially are better than the Shanghai build because they learned what they could from Shanghai, made Austin and Berlin better. They can now do the same thing with Mexico and India. So this is actually going to work out very well for Tesla, in my opinion. I think they were going to be successful either way, but now being able to have this whole entire manufacturing process done right in Austin with Elon and the top engineers on site means that when they get to the next iteration, it's going to be even better coming out of Mexico than it would have originally. So I'm very excited for this. I don't know if the timeline is still slated for end of 2024, beginning of 2025 for production. Sounds like they have equipment already moving in there for this. So maybe it actually comes out sooner than initially thought. Again, this whole entire manufacturing process is brand new. So they're setting up this whole entire factory to have this manufacturing process. And I don't know how much time it's going to take to make that happen. We will just have to wait and see. But that is extremely exciting news. Now, going back to Elon's thoughts about how he really didn't want to have this compact car, it's not an exciting vehicle, he just really wants to revolutionize how transportation works entirely when it comes to automobiles. But here we've got Tesla North America posting out, eligible Tesla buyers in Colorado can receive up to $6,000 in incentives via the Vehicle Exchange Program. This, in addition to the $7,500 federal tax credit and $5,000 state incentive, enabling savings up to $18,500. So my response to this is perhaps this is why Elon said not to worry about a sub $25,000 car, because when you're looking at a Model 3 for under $25,000 with credits, they can continue bringing the price of that down. And then my follow-up thought is, but I still think we need one because now it'll be sub $15,000 after incentives. So yes, if we put out this $25,000 car, you start tacking on all these incentives, you could be looking at a sub 20, maybe in some cases sub $15,000 vehicle. That is that sweet mass market spot that Tesla wants to be in. So yes, I do think in the future, robotaxis are going to change everything. And I love the fact that Franz and the team were able to come up with a, hey, we can do both at once. We can make both vehicles. We'll make one with steering wheel and pedals, one without, because this way, regardless of how long it takes for FSD to get solved, which we believe that it's going to be coming within the next couple of years, but we still need to wait for regulation. What happens if they were not producing this compact car? What happens if they only had the robotaxi, but we didn't have FSD solved and we didn't have any sort of regulations around this? Now they've got production out there producing a vehicle that can't be used anywhere. So I think this is a great job by the team, and I'm very happy that Elon's not just a yes man. He does not surround himself with people who just tell him yes. He has people who come up and say, hey, dude, you know what? We think you're wrong. We think we need to go in this direction. And they'll present it to him. And here comes Elon, he says yes to it. So yeah, it had to work into there to make it happen. But here we are now going to be getting the compact car and a robotaxi both at the same time. Very exciting thing. So now we know that this is all coming. Of course, we don't have any specific details on all of this, but this is way more information than we ever had before. So putting all the pieces of the puzzle together seems like this is what's happening, and we should be seeing this sometime in the next year and a half or so. And so I don't know if that news alone is going to move the stock price this week at all or not. Again, this is just the ideas. We kind of knew it. Now we have some more details behind it. But does this mean that it's going to move the stock price? I think the CPI and PPI are going to move it more than this information would. Maybe we see a little excitement to start the day tomorrow. Truly don't know. But when you start looking at TSLY, TSLY, and how that trades, it does trade based off of Tesla stock. I updated my entire spreadsheet based upon what I think the predictions are going to be for the next payout. Still have some time that I need to work into this, but in looking at it, we're trading sideways and consolidating right now. If this trend continues for the rest of the month, historically, those payouts have been higher than what we just saw this past month of 58 cents. So looking at the numbers and where we're at, we could be seeing somewhere between 65 and 70 cents for the next payout, again, if this trend continues. I will keep you guys posted on that. But if we end up getting some exciting news from this, or we get good CPI data and Tesla stock itself ends up breaking out and going back up, we could end up seeing Tesla follow suit. That in turn could end up creating a larger payout for next month. So these are the ways that they're correlating with each other. This is what I am tracking very closely, and I'll keep you guys updated with that as we see the trends continue going forward. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Again, it's very exciting. Just don't know if it's actually going to move the stock price tomorrow. I think CPI and PPI, again, are going to make a much bigger difference this week. So we'll see how those two affect the stock price. It's going to affect the entire market, so it's nothing Tesla specific. If Tesla does come out with the Cybertruck event news this week, that could give us a little boost as well. So have some positives and some negatives potential this week. A little bit of uncertainty, but again, that wedge pattern forming could cause that breakout or breakdown. Is that going to happen this week? You guys can let us know in the comments below what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.